You're listening to the DJ Doran Show, a Doran Omni Media production. Warning, the DJ Doran Show contains adult language, mature content, cerebral debate, and thought-provoking conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Call 312-235-2281 to be a part of the discussion. That's 312-235-2281. And now, Chicago's perspicacious host of your sane radio obsession, DJ Doran.
All right. Well, welcome to another edition of the DJ Doran Show. I'm your host, DJ Doran, and I'm in the studio today with my co-host, Rachael V. Say hi, Rachael.
Hi.
So, I have a situation.
A situation.
Yeah, so last week we recorded this really great year-end show.
It was so fun.
It was a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of different things. And after the show was recorded, the next day I published it because it was such a good show. I didn't even think I had to do any editing.
Oh, you published it?
I published it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then I get a notification from iHeartRadio. Oh, the DJ Doran Show posted a new episode.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, excited. I start clapping, and I said, I want to listen, see how it sounds.
Oh, God.
The intro sounded awesome like this one just did.
Yeah.
And then silence. So as I'm listening to the silence, this is what I hear in my head.
Yeah.
Yet again, we recorded an hour-long show, and the only thing that recorded was our pre-recorded
message,
sound clips,
God.
for the intro and the midro and the
Damn it.
rejoinder. And I was like, oh my god. And then I opened up Audition, and I thought, if there's a little bit of sound on there, maybe I can fix this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
They didn't record any sound.
Nada. And the reason being is because we were futzing around with the microphone connections and the settings and everything, and I must have inadvertently shut them off.
Oh, man.
So that was awesome. So anyway, I had to go through to all the podcast hosting sites and delete as many as I could.
Fuck.
But there may be some out there that have already posted, because Spreaker, which is who we use to record our podcast, sends it out to like 8 or 9 different podcasting sites
At the same time.
once I published.
And
so what I'm going to do is we're going to record this show, and then I am going to go to the published episodes list and see if I can upload this. And I don't know if it can be fixed. So for those of you that listened to our year-end show and enjoyed our version of Simon and Garfunkel's Sounds of Silence. It was a great show, though.
I know, it was so good.
I thought it was a lot of fun. And so we had...
we talked about a lot of stuff.
And Nick was here. Nick is a potential new intern, and so he was here. And, we were kind of trying to show off a little bit to show him how cool our show is. But
we bragged a lot.
And we bragged a lot that day. So the universe conspired to knock us off of our perch, if you will.
We got too cocky.
So anyway, Rachael, let's do over.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna do a do over.
To be fair, I'm very surprised that this laptop is completely intact. Like, the second you heard that the episode didn't record any vocals, I'm very surprised. All of the technology in this room is still even functioning.
See, this is fellow podcasters. This is what I'm telling you. I spared no expense. I have like the best equipment that money can buy. A over-the-top soundboard, the most excellent microphones,
high-end
laptops, high-end connections, high-end everything, and yet it still comes down to human error.
Yep.
Sort of like, being a pilot and everything. We always talk about the airplanes are so sophisticated, but oftentimes, crashes are a result of the human element, because that's the only thing, that's the weakest link in the chain. That's the variable. And it's the same thing in creating a show. These things happen. And at first I was really upset. I really was upset because it was a good show. It was a lot of energy and synergy, in our conversation. But then I thought about it and I was like, okay, it's just a recording. shit happens.
Yup.
And I actually talked myself off the ledge. And so, it's just another thing that I have to always be mindful of is when we do the show to make sure that all the technical parts are in place. And so another lesson, painful lesson.
Oh yeah.
But if this guy Nick ends up working on the show, he's going to be really good. He's very calm and very meticulous and methodical. Not us. And so that'll be great. But on that note, so we have a lot to talk about. Before we get into that, I have a few announcements to make. Number one, what you didn't hear, because we didn't record it last year, is that the DJ Doran Show is now, you can now find us on iHeartRadio.
Fuck yeah.
I'm so excited. So now we're on iHeartRadio, Spotify,
Yeah, we are.
SoundCloud, Deezer, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, Podomatic, and I think 5 or 6 other podcasting locations. So I'm really excited about that. The only thing is I always talk about creating a show that's unique and that's different. And I don't know. It seems like for the last 16 shows I've been trying to find my voice. And so part of what I want to talk about today, and we can share our experiences, is I want to kind of introduce you about to who I am and what I'm about. And it's probably, there's no probably, certainly I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
That is accurate. It's extremely
You're fired.
accurate.
Oh wait, you're a volunteer, so I can't really fire you.
Try to fire me.
But I've gone back and forth. I love talking about politics, and I have such strong opinions about what's going on in the world. And yet, there are times where I really don't want to talk about politics. I truly don't. Mm-hmm. And I can have a conversation with my friends and, whatever, and occasionally on the podcast talk about politics when I have an opinion about something. But by and large, I really don't want to do that. Now, having said that, I would be an interesting voice because I'm a gay publisher, I'm in gay media, and yet I'm not a left-wing liberal. I'm not a right-wing, although, of course, if you're not too left, then the not too left calls you right-wing. You can't just be in the middle. You can't just be moderate or anything. And so, but I think that's kind of what I am. I'm not like a Republican or a Democrat. I fucking hate both of those parties right now. I hate both of them. I am embarrassed by the Democrats. I'm sick to death of Trump and the Republicans. Mm-hmm. It's like, and nobody in the Democratic field, in my mind, even remotely makes me feel good.
So you have a fairly interesting perspective and opinions that we can really dig into, but this doesn't have to be a political podcast.
Yeah, and I don't want that. I mean, everybody's talking about politics. There are plenty of people talking about politics. The only hook that it would be like, I'm a gay person who is not super left.
But every other person's talking about it.
But everybody
politics.
others.
Yeah.
And I don't, and the truth of it is, Rachel, truthfully, if I really want to be truth, I'm lazy. And I don't want to do the research that I think you would need to do in order to speak about these topics.
I don't think you need the damn stress, man.
And I don't want the stress, truthfully. I have so much going on in my life that's fun and positive, and I want to be educated about it and about things that I don't really want to delve into that. I don't need to be the political lightning rod for haters on both ends of the political spectrum.
That's fair.
So here's the deal. So let me tell you a little bit about me, and then I want you can talk a little bit about you. And,
oh boy, do I get to?
You do, but wait, it costs $20.
Worth it.
And this may give some of our listeners some insight. So, first of all, I'm a pilot. I fly airplanes, right? I was a pilot in the Air Force, United States Air Force, and now I'm just a civilian pilot, a recreational pilot. I am a publisher of Queer Magazine, KWIR Magazine, which is a lifestyle magazine, a monthly lifestyle magazine, glossy magazine that comes out and really talks about things that really talks about lifestyle things like like fashion and style and food and dining and travel and parenting and finance and the things that are practical parts of living as a gay man. And I have to say truthfully, even though it's called Queer Magazine, it really is slanted more towards gay men. Mm-hmm. That's our largest readership demographic, but we do try and put in content that appeals across the spectrum, whether it's lesbians, transgender people, or gay men, and everything within our coalition of that we call our community. We try to put something in there. Now, also, there's an opinion section in the magazine, and that section is where I think we really like to shine because we take people's opinions about everything from politics and current events to alien abduction and how to tie the best bow tie. What is it like taking hormones when you're transitioning? It's would be a
fucking roller coaster ride.
It's a roller coaster ride, and all the different things. So that's kind of what's cool about Queer Magazine is I think that we're not regurgitating news that you can get everywhere else. We're trying to create unique content about our community from people that are part of our community.
I think you found the identity for this show then.
Yeah. And so that it's not we're not anything. So one of the things that someone told me once is that you can have an opinion, and you do. By the way, she does. God almighty, I don't know how we lasted this long. But but you can have an opinion, and one of the things that I like to say is that I can have an opinion and we can completely disagree, but the one thing that I think separates our show from anything else out there is that I hit that by mistake. That's a Freudian slip.
Every time I speak, you just have to freaking press the sound clip, man.
Is that I myself, even though I can be difficult and I have strong opinions, I am thirsty for knowledge and I want to be educated. So if you can change my mind, I'm open to that. But if you're just going to call in, or if we're going to have a guest and we're just going to fight, then that doesn't interest me. But if you do have something that challenges me, that makes me think, then I think we're both better, right? So that's what our show is about. Is whoever's listening, you may not agree with what I'm saying, then tell me why I should think different. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that is out there right now is people are polarized in such a way that they only think one thing, and it's like, if you don't think this way, you're against me. Mm-hmm. No, if you don't think this way, educate me. Educate me. If I don't think that way, educate me. If you don't think that way, I'll try and educate you. And somewhere in the middle, we'll come to an understanding. That's what I enjoy about doing our show. That's why I think you and I hit it off so well, is we're different in so many ways.
On opposite ends of a lot of things.
On a lot of things. But our common denominator is that we're human. We're human beings. That's the common denominator. Mm-hmm. Everything else is workable. But the common denominator is we're human beings. And so that's kind of where I want my show to be about, is practical things practical things about how to live your life in the most authentic way, in the most fulfilling way. What are the challenges that, as a gay male, what are the challenges that you face in day-to-day life, like going to the grocery store, traveling and checking into hotels, going through airlines? What about if, God forbid, I got sick and Joe had to make some medical decisions, family dynamics, children? We have a daughter and we have 2 grandchildren. How does that all work? And how did we navigate through that? So, that's a big part of the things. The political things, there are plenty of activists that go out there and fight for our rights. Mm-hmm. KWIR magazine, or Queer Magazine, is more about how to live your life in the best way possible today, with the rights and the privileges, if you will, that we have right now. The activists go out there and fight. I'm not sure that I'm one of those.
I struggled with that a lot myself. I wasn't entirely sure. I'm still not. But all I know is that right now I'm definitely not, screaming my head off in the middle of the streets and throwing bottles and stuff. It's not me. I'm still finding my place.
Well, you know what, Rachel? That's the funny thing, is because, I'm finding my place. Mm-hmm. I'm 59 years old and I'm still trying to figure it out. When I tell people that my sometimes co-host is transgender, and we have such different viewpoints on some things. Some things. They always say, "Oh, how is that? I bet you guys fight all the time." And I said, the truth of the matter is, we really don't fight.
We don't. We were open-minded people.
We're open-minded. And I never thought I would say that about myself, because I'm so set in my ways. But the thing is, and the thing that I want to say, and I'm going to say it again, this is, oh my God, I can't.
Get this again.
I'm going to throw up in my mouth. Is the thing that I am proud of about me and this show is that we've become friends, and that I was able to look past the things that I wasn't sure about to get to know you and to know that you're such a wonderful person.
Yes. Hell yeah. That felt so good to hear. Can't take it back. It's out there. It's recorded for people to listen.
Now it is really recorded. But the point of it is, I think that is so important. It's like, I think I learned that lesson. Like, I have another friend, Winnie. I'm mentioning your name, Winnie, so if you're listening to the show, I'm mentioning my friend Winnie. We disagree on everything.
Oh, you told me about that, yeah.
Yeah. Winnie is non-binary, and he told me I should use his male pronoun, so I'm going to say he. Is just a good human. A good human. I don't understand, like, the way Winnie dresses and her his viewpoints on racism and things like that. We don't always agree on. Because I'm more of an entrepreneur view, like, get off my back and let me reach my full potential. You don't have to help me, but get out of my way.
And Winnie thinks on a different
thing and thinks that, there was a lot of oppression, and so they have a lot of unique obstacles and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And he's very passionate about it, and I respect that. But we don't talk about those things because we can't talk about those things without getting passionate. So we just avoid those. And in a former life, I would have just written him off. I don't need that. I don't need that kind of confrontation. But Winnie is just a good human, and I value our growing friendship. And no matter how much we disagree, and when he came over for dinner the other day, he got red in the face, and I was getting red in the face, and then we said, "Let's
red in the
I know.
face."
I said, "Let's just go watch a movie." So we sat on the couch watching a movie and everything, and when it was time to leave, I could tell there was a little bit of awkwardness, not that we said anything mean to each other, but there was just like, whatever. I was like, "No, you don't get to leave without hugging me goodbye." And we hugged, and the thing is, there needs to be more hugging in the world, I think, sometimes, because I think that's universal. It is universal. But the lesson I learned is that the example that I want to set, and I want to start with myself, the example I want to set is that you can have the most vehement disagreement ideologically or on any topic, but that is not the total sum of that person or that potential relationship. And that makes it worth it to me. And it's not going to kill me that I have to discuss everything, and if I can't, then somehow I'm, like, you don't have to always say everything. Yep. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's kind of how I've navigated with Winnie. And Winnie has had from what he's told me, he's had a challenging upbringing, and still turned out to be a pretty awesome individual. So Winnie, if you're listening, I really appreciate our friendship. and I mean that. And here's the thing is, I met him at a cooking class that my husband, who is a chef, was teaching. And we were both hiding in the kitchen because the host of the cooking show was trying to drag us up to do karaoke.
Oh, fuck that.
And there was a little bit of drinking involved, and I'm like, "I'm not going up there." And he goes, "Neither am I." So we hung out in the kitchen, and then we started talking. And Winnie has like blue hair and piercings and everything. Yeah. And I just ever since then, it was like instant. We instantly connected. So no matter how much we disagree, I am going to care for him as a human being and as a friend. Yeah. And that is completely separate from anyone's political beliefs.
And one thing I found very interesting about the show is that it can open up a specific dialogue about things that maybe even I don't understand about my own community. Because, I mean, again, I'm pretty young and I'm pretty new into this. into this space. So, I'm over here talking about my experiences, and I'm like, hey, has anyone else had weird experiences at the airport, and like specifically by airport, when you're going through security and stuff?
Right, because your passport, does it still say male?
Yeah, all my legal stuff still says male, and more importantly, I am not, I'm not seen the way I see myself. So others don't see me that way. And so I'm looked at whenever I'm there as just a normal guy. And so when I go through, shit gets weird. And I'm like, oh man, has this happened to anybody else? And then we can have other people tell us their stories, because every freaking trans person does. And I'd be like, okay, cool. This, I'm glad I'm not the only one. People have a billion different types of very interesting stories that can add to we can talk about it on this
I think
show.
that is the key. That's what I want to create. That's what I want the show. I want the show to be about education, about growing as a human being, about shared experiences. It's not about whether or not you agree with me or I agree with you, and I'm spouting off my opinions and you're forced to listen to them. Mm-hmm. I want to be like, okay, you have experiences. Yeah. This is what I think about that. And if you disagree with it, be able to have a disagreement in a civil discourse.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I'm not really big on, okay, I'm going to take off my headphones and storm out of the studio because I don't like what you're saying, or I don't agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you don't like or agree with what I'm saying, then explain to me why I should change my viewpoint. But when you storm out, then the conversation is over. And I think that's the key thing, Rachel, is the conversation. Mm-hmm. There are things that we're going to talk about that are fun. Like travel or alien abductions or flying or, some of the...
Or moving
or movies or food or all those things. But there are going to be the occasional times where we're going to talk about important stuff and people may get their feathers ruffled. Like I want to do a show, which is something that I am interested in, is why are drag queens so prevalent in the gay community? What is it about drag queens? Is it, I don't understand. And that's a legitimate lack of understanding. And here's the thing. I didn't come out until I was almost 40.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't have any of the history of that. One of my very good friends is Cadillac Barbie and Blossom in Indianapolis, and they're the heads of the Bag Ladies, which is a drag troupe, and they raise a ton of money for HIV research. And I've become very good friends with them as people, but I don't understand drag.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. Like
it's funny. Yeah, my boyfriend's super into drag, and I like it, being in Chicago of all fucking places, right? You run into it everywhere, and I've just never been into it. And I'm over here in the community. I'm like, should I?
That's what I said. It's like Halloween. Like, okay, we're gonna go to a drag brunch. Why is that a thing?
I don't know.
And so
someone needs to educate.
I gotta have a drag. I'm gonna have a drag person on my show. I'm gonna have a drag queen on my show, and I want some. I'll see if Cadillac Barbie will be on my show, and I want to really talk to her about like, do you call them her, even though they're men dressing up as women?
Yes, you do.
She said to me one time, and now that after I said that, I just remembered it. She said to me one time, is when I'm in drag, I'm her.
I noticed that, and that's why it was always so problematic for me as a trans person. I'm like, oh, so you get to be a girl for about 5 minutes while, I'm over here struggling just to be, and it's a really weird and complicated thing. And so I have such a weird view of the drag culture, and so I want to hear it from somebody in that culture being like, how did you view that? Or are you trans yourself, and how did you approach,
right.
What I mean?
And so that was the thing, so I was like, okay, drag queens are interesting. They have like super heavy makeup. They're usually tall because with their high heels, if they're tall anyway, and their hair and everything. And so I thought, okay, why? I'm not like, I had no interest in RuPaul's Drag Race.
Neither did I.
I just never got into it, but it's a big thing. So I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Or, I have another thing where, big pharma like Gilead Sciences, says, oh, we're HIV, we're kicking you out because you're undetectable and non-transmittable. But they always have that little caveat in their commercials that say it's nearly 0% chance of catching transmitting HIV. And I think to myself, you're making people feel safe when if there's the slightest chance that I could be subjected to HIV, I don't want to take that chance because it may not be a death sentence, but it's a life-altering sentence. Yeah. And I don't agree with that sort of stuff. I don't want it to be normal. I don't want it to be okay to be HIV positive, but not non-detectable because there's a slim chance of transmission. Mm-hmm. I think that they should say that there's a chance of transmission and make it scary. Mm-hmm. Not scary as the people, but as a way to say you need to act responsibly. You need to practice safe sex, because I think that the message that they're sending out is, oh, it's okay to be promiscuous, and maybe you don't have to be as safe as you would have been because, undetectable means a slim to none chance of transmitting. I just don't believe that. I think that's irresponsible. That's just my personal opinion about that. Now, I'm willing to be re-educated about it, but I'm open to hear that, but my personal thing is any threat to my health or well-being, no matter how minuscule, I want to have control over that. That was completely unintentional.
Your laptop is disagreeing.
I don't know what the heck is going on. I keep hitting the screen, and that was that. But anyway, that's like there's a minuscule chance that I'm going to be eaten by a great white shark. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I'm going to swim in the ocean where sharks are, even though my chances are minuscule. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean? Without me being informed that, hey, there are great white sharks here, you might not want to swim here. Then if I choose to do that, okay. But don't say, oh, it's safe to swim here because there are great white sharks here, but the chances of you seeing a great white shark are,
slim to none.
Slim to none. However, in DJ's world, I would be the none. Or the very slim. That means that one great white shark's like, fat boy swimming over there. That's a good one. And by the way, I've seen great white sharks eating chum when I was in Australia years ago. If I ever saw that, I would die of a heart attack. If I was ever in the water, I would die of a heart attack. I don't even think I could remember to poke at their eyes because of the...
Your adrenaline shooting through your through your veins.
That was crazy that's in the ocean. But anyway, so I want to do shows like that. I want to have fun, lighthearted shows where we're talking about fun stuff. We could talk about politics and we could talk about some things.
But there's a time and place for that.
And I want to caveat it by saying I am in no way, shape, or form an expert. This is just my opinion based on what I've read in the news or seen in the news, just like you, right? So I don't ever want to give an opinion that says I am an expert on this political situation. This is my opinion about what I see, and I'm going to tell you how I feel, and we can talk about that, and maybe from all of that we can get some better insight. So on that note, we're coming up on a break. We're going to hear a message from our friends at Joe Eats World. Joe Morales is a chef, and he teaches cooking classes at Get in the Kitchen on Broadway here in Chicago. If you have an opportunity to check it out, you should check it out and sign up for one of his classes. I've taken a couple of them and I've attended a few more, and they are a lot of fun. So their whole thing is let's have fun in the kitchen and at the same time learn to cook. So it's called Get in the Kitchen. I'm not sure of the website, but I think it's getinthekitchen.com. But my husband, Joe Morales, is the chef and the teacher, so I'm plugging it. So don't go away. You're listening to the DJ Doran Show. We'll be right back. This episode of the DJ Doran Show is brought to you by our friends at Joe Eats World, featuring Chef Joe Morales as he eats and drinks his way through life, sharing recipes, dining experiences, and cooking tips. Be sure to follow him at joeeatsworld.com and on his Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You're listening to the DJ Doran Show. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Call 312-235-2281 to speak to DJ.
I'm so far away, and I can't see for good. Any chance that I clear the background, I will say I would. Yeah, I would. Face the arrows clear like I should.
All right, well, we're coming back. Oh, thank you, audience.
I love you.
They love me. Thank you. We're back. You're listening to the DJ Doran Show. I'm your host, DJ Doran, and I'm in the studio tonight with my co-host, Rachael V. And we're just talking about stuff.
Stuff, man.
About stuff. So before we get to talk about you.
Yeah, but I'm fucking ready, man. I got to talk about me for once.
I want to kind of tell our audience, who I am. So like I was saying, I'm the publisher of Queer Magazine. I'm the managing director of Diversitas Media, which is a media placement agency. And I'm the president of the National Equality Media Association, which is a group of print and digital publishers and content creators from across the country. And I'm the occasional Uber driver. And I want to tell you about why I drive for Uber, right? I have all these different things, and I want to tell a little bit about that. So a while back, I was sort of disillusioned with the human race, and one of my friends said, you should drive for Uber. You'll get to meet people, and it'll renew your faith in humanity. And I was like, I don't want people in my car. And he goes, your car is just sitting in the garage doing nothing. Just drive it. And so after a while, I decided to sign up for Uber, and then I drove. And I have met some really interesting people. And there's a certain awesomeness that comes from the anonymity of just being DJ, the Uber driver. People don't know who I am. They don't know what my positions are, and in LGBT media, and so they talk freely. They speak freely. And I've had people from the left, people from the right, a few people in the middle. I've had business people. I've had a mariachi band that sang a cappella from O'Hare Airport to downtown practicing. I had a group of, I'm going to say, young Japanese girls attending a Hello Kitty convention in Chicago.
Fascinating. That
was fascinating. I didn't understand a word they said, but they giggled a lot, which made me giggle. And I think everything was good, but so that was fun. And then, I've had people tell me about their life and, tell me about their kids, their grandkids, their husbands, their wives, and so forth and so on. So that was really fun. And so I've enjoyed it. And I've made pretty good money at it. I don't do it very often, but I do it occasionally. And I enjoy it. And so it's extra spending money. And then, of course, I'm the chief pilot for Pride Flight. And Pride Flight is that project I was telling you about where I'm attempting to restore a World War II DC-3, which is an 85-plus-year-old aircraft. And I'd like to fly it around the world on a goodwill mission promoting civilian aviation, friendship, and diversity. And if I'm successful, I'll be the first openly gay pilot to circumnavigate the globe by air as a pilot. So I've got a lot on my plate. And then I do my podcast. And so I wanted to do the podcast. Listen, let's be real. My podcast doesn't make any money. Right? It's not like anything I'm going to...
Pretty fucking real, man.
Right. It's not like I'm going to retire on it. But I do like it because for two reasons. One, it's a platform for me to talk about the things that interest me. And maybe there are other people that might be interested, or maybe other people might be inspired or educated or feel comforted or be challenged to learn more. And, and through my successes and multitude of failures, they can, be inspired to or feel comforted to know that, hey, it gets better. Mm-hmm. That failure, in my mind, is as equally important as success.
Agreed.
You have to learn how to wallow properly in your self-pity, but not stay there indefinitely. Get up, dust yourself off, and try again and say, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to do that again.
And if we've learned that lesson anywhere, at the very least, we learned it doing this damn podcast.
Yes. I mean, even, when we first started out, we had so many technical difficulties. Every week, the microphone didn't work, the soundboard didn't work, the sound clips didn't record, the app froze in the middle of a podcast, we had all kinds of stuff, but we just plug away. And I saw something today that I thought was really interesting, and it said success is persistence.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We have to be persistent.
I agree.
And, whenever I talk about entrepreneurship, the one thing that comes up is people say, well, how did you do this or how did you do that? And I say, you show up every day.
Yep.
And there are a lot of times you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yep.
You just show up and you're like, okay, I hope this works.
You take a step and you're just like, well, I might trip, but what else am I going to do?
You got to take a step. And people think that whenever you're doing something that's outside the norm, like flying around the world, they think, oh, everyone's just going to give you money and everything's going to go happy-go-lucky. No, you don't have monkeys on your back. You have gorillas on your back. The people that want to project their fear of failure on you, I wouldn't do that. Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
that's
right?
too dangerous. Oh, you'll never raise the money. Oh, you'll never find a plane. Oh, this. You'll never get anybody to volunteer. You'll never get this and that, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you could use that example actually going forward on everything, from small things to large things. Do you think that you're the only one with a dream? No, everyone has a dream. But the people that succeed at realizing their dreams are the ones that take action. Even if you don't know how you're going to get there or anything, you take action. You move forward. You try. You fail. You try again. You fail. You try a third time. And you say, oh, that worked. This didn't work. That works. This works. That didn't work. That's what you do. And I think it's important to note that there are a lot of people that were like, oh, I wouldn't do this, or I don't think I would do that, or blah, or when I have enough money, I'm going to do this, or when when my health is better, I'm going to do that, or when when I have a better job, I'm going to do this. And the truth of the matter is, none of that matters. None of it. And I'm telling you from personal experience that sometimes you just have to do it. Take an action and do it. And we did this. We, in 2008, when the economy was going bad, everything was going bad. We sold everything and bought a 61-foot sailboat and moved to San Francisco and lived on it for 3.5 years. Neither Joe nor I knew anything about sailing, knew anything about boats. It was our first and only boat, but we did it. We took action. And I remember when we were telling our family we were on vacation in Hawaii, and we printed out a photo of the boat. And we're handing out the photo to everyone at a dinner table. I think it was dinner or lunch or something. And we said, hey, we bought a boat. We're going to sail around the world. And Joe's mom says, but you don't like to get your hair wet, right? And everyone had, this is
something.
Yeah, you're crazy. What is wrong with you? Nobody sells everything and buys a boat and blah, 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 blah. But we did it. And we made it work. And we didn't end up sailing around the world, but we taught ourselves how to sail. We taught ourselves about sailing. We got control of the boat, and we were pretty good, and I don't care that we didn't go around the world per se, but the point of it is we took the step. We had a dream. We decided we chased after it, and the fact of the matter that we didn't accomplish the full version of our dream is irrelevant.
Agreed. Yeah.
Is irrelevant, and so I always tell people that you have to, if you have a dream, make it happen, because it's never going to be a good time. You're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have all the ducks in a row that you want to have. It's just not going to happen. It just doesn't happen that way. And then at the end of your life, you're like, oh my God, the one thing that I can't buy, build, or get is
it's gone forever.
Time.
Yeah, or that too.
Time. So that's why I think sometimes I push myself so hard and I'm passionate about so many things, is because I'm a voracious consumer of life and living and the experience of life. And I want to do those things. I want to see those things. And whenever someone says, oh, you're crazy, you need to get a job and settle down, and, and you should have a steady paycheck. Do you know I've never had a steady paycheck?
Really?
Other than the military.
That's wild.
Do you know what I mean? I've always been an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs create their paycheck every week. You create your job every week. And by the way, there was a time, well, there were more than a time. There were plenty of times where I would print out, I'd say, I'm going to pay myself. I'm going to absolutely pay myself. And I'd pay myself, and I'm like, there's not enough money. I need to pay everybody else. So I put my check in the desk drawer. And I have a stack. Never cashed. Paid taxes, but never cashed. And so that's the life that I wanted for myself, and I'm living my life. I mean, I'm a pilot. I'm flying. I'm going through flight training right now. I'm living in Chicago. I'm doing okay. I drive for Uber. I do, I patchwork quilt my life, and So my podcast is about that. It's like, okay, I don't have all the answers, but what about this? And maybe by talking about what I'm doing, I'll meet other people or talk to other people that are like, DJ, you go for it. You keep going for it. And I can get inspiration from the people that are listening to the show. I can give it and I can receive it. That's what I like about the show. I'm anxious. Beginning February 1st, by the way, everyone, we're going to be have the ability to take in live callers.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Fucking happening. Now we're going to put another layer of needing to understand this crap.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be okay. I'm pretty sure it's going to be okay.
Let's hope.
But yes, so beginning, I don't want to say February 1st, but it's the first Monday in February, which is, I'll tell you right now, it's not February 1st, it's February 3rd, the day after Groundhog Day. For the February 3rd show, we will be live from Chicago.
Shit.
You're listening to the DJ Doran Show.
It's fucking nerve-wracking.
It'll be super nerve-wracking. And the thing is, when we go live and we record it live on Spreaker, we don't get a chance to edit it. As soon as the show ends, it's published immediately.
Yep.
Do you remember we did that test live show?
Yeah.
And we're like, what the fuck? Where'd that show go? We didn't have a chance to edit it. It got published live.
Yep. So it's happening.
It's going to happen. And so
no safety net.
No safety net for us. No, we're like the Wallendas. Do you even know who they are?
No.
Oh my God, the Wallenda family. They walk the tightropes, and one of the grandfather or something was walking a tightrope between these two buildings, and he fell to his death.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. And they have like that big stick that they put out there and whatever. But
and that's gonna be us. So
that's gonna be us. Yeah. So I'm kind of excited about that, but I'm also nervous about it.
Yeah.
But listen, people will be pretty, I think, gentle with that. It's going to take us a couple of shows to get it figured out. But
very true.
And the other thing too that that's going to happen is for the whole month of January, we're doing all these marketing pushes. So I've got these flyers that I had printed. We're going to put a magnet on the car so when I'm driving for Uber, people can find the show. And then we're going to do some Facebook marketing and some other things. And so we're going to have hopefully a wide audience. We're going to start in Chicago and saturate it everywhere.
Yeah.
So we want people to tune into the show and help us create the show by having those conversations. Some shows, like podcasts especially, but they talk at you. You don't have a chance to offer your opinion or change the paradigm of the conversation or the dynamic of the conversation. But the DJ Doran Show is not going to be just a podcast. We're actually going to be an internet radio show live. So every week you can listen to a live show and call in and be a part of the conversation.
Hell yeah.
And then hopefully this new guy will be able to edit it so that it sounds like a streamlined
he's going to have a fucking heavy job to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's going to be interesting. And I think we're at the point now, Rachel, where we can quickly recognize when there's a problem.
That's true.
So like even troubleshooting this, we were like, okay, let's just go through the checklist, and I think that's what happened. Mm-hmm. And it's just another layer, and I think it's always going to be a layer. But anyway, so that's enough about me. This is what's going to happen for the DJ Doran Show. I think you guys have a clear understanding of who I am as the host of the show. It's just a journey of let's learn about things. Let's have fun while we're learning, and let's challenge each other, but be nice to each other.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Rachel.
Shit.
So, Rachel, tell our audience a little bit about you and your journey.
Oh man, it's my time to shine. Yeah.
Wait, do you want me to put the flashlight on you?
Oh my God. So for anybody who has been listening for a decent amount of time here, I don't talk too much about myself. So yeah, I guess an introduction would be that I am 25. I am from Jersey. I've lived here for about a year. In Chicago. I'm a musician. I got a couple bands going on. Let's see what else. Applause, man. I'm trans, Mexican, Dominican, and very, very different from DJ, like we all said. And I am still trying to figure out a lot of shit. Like any trans person, anybody in the community, you're still trying to figure out where you fit. I have a full-time job, but at the same time, I'm trying to do music shit and trying to launch that off. And, you know, as rickety of a boat that is to fucking sail. As well, I've, you know, done a lot on my own and have succeeded and failed many fucking times. But I'm really excited for this show, mostly for the perspectives that people can give us. You know, again, we're talking on a subject of drag queens or something like that. I am looking forward to hearing everybody's different perspective on something like that. On a billion other things as well, on fucking UFOs, man. I'm excited for that one. That's gonna be a show.
You know, that's the number one popular show that everyone wants to be a guest on, is the UFO show, the MUFON show, the Mutual UFO Network. And I belong to a couple of those groups. I don't know if we're gonna get anybody on the show. I'm doing my best to get somebody credible to talk about it, but I don't know. We'll see. I think that person, they can call in, but I want to find someone in Chicago that can come to the show, come to the studio.
That would be cool.
And that they can talk about it. Because I mean, I'm genuinely interested. I don't know about you. Let's segue off a little bit and let's talk about UFOs.
Okay.
So I've always believed that it would be intellectually disserving if we thought that out of the billions of galaxies that are out there, that we are the only planet that evolved any sort of sentient life, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing I thought was kind of a thing is that there have been so many sightings of UFOs, and too many. I mean, this is too many sightings for it to be wrong. And I think that the government, my own opinion is, I think that there are legitimate UFOs, there are legitimate alien life. I believe that the government made a conscious effort to discredit people that reported either sightings or abductions, because if you think about it, they made them out to be crazy, because now whenever someone says, oh, I saw a UFO, your first reaction is they're lunatic, right? But the problem is that I think the lid is slowly starting to get blown off. There are too many sightings by too many credible people, like those Navy pilots that that had the sighting, and airline pilots and other people.
I forgot about that.
You know, and so I think in my lifetime it's going to be revealed that they're either they are visiting the Earth, or they have visited the Earth and the government has had interaction with them and is now going to reveal it. You know, I read about this guy. His name's Bob Lazar. He's pretty prominent in the UFO world, and he supposedly worked at Area 51, and he saw these different things and whatever. And I watched a video about him, and he is not a crazy. I mean, he's an astrophysicist, and I mean, he's a smart guy. So why would he make all this stuff up, and why would he bring all of that on him? You know, it just makes no sense. And so I truly want to talk to someone who can give me information. Not, you know, it's easy to say I want to talk to some wackadoodle who wants to talk about UFOs and make fun of them and whatever, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I really want to understand, where are they getting this information, and who are the credible people. Now, it doesn't always help that some of the ancient alien people have like crazy haircuts, or they have eccentric behaviors or whatever.
Or they just fill in the gaps with really weird stretches.
With really weird stretches. But I do think that a show about real exploration into the possibility of that would be kind of a fun show to do.
I think so too.
And so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to keep trying, and that's going to come in the future. But I am definitely going to do that show when the live call-in feature is in place, because I'm going to promote the hell out of it too.
That's going to be a good one.
But as a general rule, you know, like some people, they create shows and they say, oh, I'm going to have a show this week is about this, and this podcast is about that. I don't know if I want to do that, if I want to create shows. I think what I want to do is just promote the DJ Doran Show, and you have to tune in to see what we're going to be talking about.
Exactly.
And then afterwards, the podcast will have obviously the title and then the information. But I don't think I'm going to which is what I was going to do originally. I was going to say, okay, we're going to do a show about this, and then I'm going to promote it, and people will follow. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have a show. Once I have a guest lined up, I'll promote it a couple of days before we broadcast it live. But other than that, it's going to be, hey, you have to listen in order to
I like that.
to find out. So
we're pretty consistent. We're here every Monday, man.
Yeah, we've been pretty consistent right now. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, all the stuff that we're working out are just the minor technical difficulties, and you can tell that they're getting less and less.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. So before we get too far along, I just want to tell people, hey, go to Spotify, go to iHeartRadio, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Google Podcasts, Deezer, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and all of those. Find the DJ Doran Show and subscribe and follow us so that you can get every time we create a show that you get an update. And share up to your social media networks about the DJ Doran Show. You can find us on Facebook just look for the DJ Doran Show. We're on Instagram and Twitter and all of the normal stuff. And give us a follow and give us a like. And what do you call someone when they follow you on Instagram? A follower?
I guess.
Oh. So, I'm asking you to do that. That'd be kind of cool. We want to build our audience because I think the greater our audience is, the greater number of perspectives and viewpoints and have. And I think that makes the conversation more interesting and entertaining. So make sure you do that. You can also go to the DJ Doran Show's website, which is djdoran.com, and I'm uploading the shows now, so it's kind of in process, so I apologize for that, but we are uploading them and uploading the content, and then you'll be able to listen to the shows at your convenience. And eventually, there'll be the DJ Doran Show app.
Oh, shit.
Free.
Big fucking plans.
Yes,
man.
that you can download, and it'd be so much easier,
wild.
so I'm very excited about that. So, what else can we talk about? So, since this is kind of like our quasi re-recording of New Year's, did you make any New Year's resolutions? Do you remember what you said last week?
Oh, fuck me, dude. No, I don't remember.
I don't remember what I said this morning, let alone last week.
Right? Yeah, a long time ago. It's been a weird week. No, but I mean, I kind of understand what I'm aiming for this year, and I wrote out a list of stuff I really want, and I'm gonna, once I get through it, all of the stuff, I told myself I want to go further in my music. I want to get laser hair removal, which is something that I've been saving up for. I want to concentrate on spending money on myself health-wise because I have really fucking bad teeth. I would love to work on that. But yeah, a lot of tiny little goals.
You don't have bad teeth. You have believe me, I've seen some people with bad teeth. You don't have bad teeth.
Well, they're not that bad right now. They'll get a lot worse if I do nothing, basically.
Yes. And teeth are important as you get older, because you don't want to have dentures, for God's sake, if you can help it.
Mm-hmm.
But, cool. So, 2020 is an exciting year for Rachel. A lot of new things.
Hopefully a tattoo will come of it as well.
And a tattoo.
Yeah, man.
That's also. I saw that you exchanged information with Nick last week. So, he might be. He's a musician.
Yes,
like a classically trained musician.
He's much better than me, yes. He's a lot better. He was talking about his experience and he goes to school for it. He knows his shit.
I mean, he's pretty sharp dude. So I'm hoping that he decides to be a part of the show because cool. I think I would enjoy working with him. But cool. Well, for me, my New Year's resolution is to clear the clutter of the things that I'm not passionate about and start getting more focused on the things that I'm passionate about.
That's fair.
And then really cut out people that I think are negative influences or don't live up to what I have like this idea of the people that I want to surround myself with, and I want to surround myself with uplifting, positive people that help me achieve my goals. I don't need to fix anyone, and I don't want to fix anyone. And I don't want to constantly be, pulling back and forth with people that don't share the same vision or outlook on life that I do. And so I want to keep that core of people that I do surround myself with, good, positive, uplifting people that help me continue to be a better person. The second thing is I want to be a lot more financially disciplined. You know, I've always had the ability to make a lot of money, and I've lived comfortably. And as you can see by our apartment, we live comfortably.
Yeah.
But the thing is I always spend what I earn, and so I'm never like in that position where
someone didn't silence their.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm never in that position where I'm like, oh, I'm just, you know, like some people, they say, oh, I'm going to save and save and save and save.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. I always feel like I could die tomorrow, so I'm going to live and spend. And I still want to keep that per se. I don't want to lose that, but I just want to be a little bit more disciplined. You know, and I want to have as much of a nest egg as I can without robbing that impulsiveness of doing.
I understand that.
You know, of doing what I'm doing. And then I think the last thing is I really want to come to terms with where I fit in the gay community. Yeah. And this is something that I've been struggling with, and you probably can relate to this to a degree, is that where do I fit? Like, I know where I should be, I know where I should fit, and I know where people want me to fit, but I'm struggling with finding where I fit as an older gay male with the viewpoints that I have, with the perceptions that I have, with the things that interest me. Doesn't always line up with the gay community, you know? Yeah. And so oftentimes, I feel like on the fringe of it.
Yeah.
And so
it sucks.
It does suck. And then I say to myself, well, I'm not part of that. I don't agree with that. Like, here's the thing. I don't understand, right? I truly don't understand open relationships.
Oh, man.
I don't, right? And I think we were talking about this last week, too.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like, I get it that you can have multiple partners because we all can, but then if that's the case, why wouldn't you be single? Because then there's no commitment.
Oh, we'll have an episode on that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Like I was just reading about someone posted in a group on Facebook talking about open relationships, and I thought to myself, I want to do a show about that because I really don't understand it. For Joe and I would never be okay with that. That's not. Those aren't the values that I grew up with.
Because it's not for everybody.
Right. Because I grew up with, if you want to date, and it's fine dating multiple people, date one at a time. But once you make a commitment to that person, you're making a commitment to that person.
Yeah.
By injecting another person into that mix, into that sanctuary of your relationship, it creates a whole different paradigm in my mind. And I don't always think it is a healthy or a positive thing. And some of the things that and I'm saying that on my limited experience, because some of the things that I've seen on social media or whatever, where the core couple introduces a third person and everything is great because the thought of it is exciting, right? But then when one of the core couple sees their partner having sex with another person, a stranger, it hurts. Mm-hmm. And they like, oh, this isn't as fun as I thought it would be. Now, if they all did it together, then I guess I get that. I get it. I don't know how that would work. I mean, sex without emotion, I guess if you just take it that way, sex without emotion, then it's just, oh, hey, we're just having sex. You know, a couple with a third person is just having sex. So in my head, it's a really tough thing for me to reconcile. And I would love to talk about that, to learn what that means and how that really affects.
Yes, you'll definitely want me here for that one.
Affects a couple. And then, so things like that. That's kind of what the show is about, right? It's like I want to learn about that sort of stuff. Not that I may not ever agree with it, but I want to at least have an understanding of a perspective of, okay, now I get it why people do it. It doesn't work for me. Just like I don't drink alcohol. It's not because I have an issue with alcohol. I just don't have a taste. I have never had a taste for it. Now, can I? Yes. And have I? Absolutely. But if I never had a drink of alcohol, I don't think I would miss it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm over here being the fucking booze hound that I am. It's way different.
Well, you're so young, that's the way to do it. But you see what I'm saying is, so just because somebody else goes out and parties and does that doesn't mean that I don't judge them. I just am looking at that and say, okay, well, I don't want to do that.
You're just different. And
just different. Same thing with open relationship. If someone's have an open relationship, that's their choice. I don't understand it, and I don't want it, but that's not my place to. Like, I'm not the judge and jury to say, oh, here's how you should have a successful relationship. I don't want that role.
Exactly.
But I do want to understand it because I think it's fascinating. And what I don't understand is if you can do all that and be single without any issues, why would you do it as a couple and create issues? Mm-hmm. If potentially.
Yeah, definitely potentially, and so
but there are some that obviously it works, and I think it works. I think it's I don't know, but that would be a show I'd want to talk about anyway. Yeah. So listen, I didn't think we could do it, but we talked about an hour already.
Fucking did it.
So it's not exactly the year-end show like we did last week, but this is now you guys know what our show is about. Now you know a little bit more about who I am and who Rachel is and what we're going to be talking about.
Hey, I got to talk about myself for a solid minute, and you complimented me. It was a good fucking show.
I take that as a good show.
Good show.
And we're drinking coffee. But I think that's why I enjoy this show. I think that's why I enjoy doing it. It's not so much that I'm preaching to anyone or hammering someone over the head, but we come in here and we're like, okay, what do we want to talk about today? Yeah. Let's really talk about this.
Exactly.
So this show is letting you know what our show is about and how we're going to go about doing it, but nothing is off limits.
Exactly.
Whether it's politics, current events, relationships, religion, UFOs, ice cream flavors, travel, it doesn't matter. Whatever we want to talk about is what we're going to talk about.
And as well for our audience, I mean, you guys listen to the show, so you can always just pitch us a line saying, hey, this subject matters to a lot of us. Why don't you talk about this?
Yeah, and that you can do that. You can make a comment on our Facebook page or send me a tweet. Eventually, even, we're going to have the ability to take text messages.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's
so you could text us and tell us what we should talk about or tell us to shut up and go off the air.
Yeah, right.
There's always that possibility, too. Mainly for you, though, but not for me.
Oh, yeah, when I talk, just our audience space goes down. Right?
I'm going to say one other thing, and I got to rail about the city of Chicago. First of all, driving for Uber, I have gotten more fucking like red light tickets and whatever. Yeah. And so the other day, a few weeks ago, I set up a payment plan. And I paid the first payment and everything, and so the next payment was due, and I went online. They sent me a reminder. I clicked on the link. I put in all the information. It says, we cannot find your tickets. We cannot find you. So I couldn't make the payment plan. So I'm going to call them and say, this is ridiculous. I'm putting in the information that you clearly have because you sent it to me, and yet I can't whatever. And so I hate dealing with the city of Chicago and all that sort of stuff. And it's so bureaucratic. And the thing is, when you get a ticket, they make it nearly impossible for you to dispute it. You have to go down there and go before, the whatever, and have a hearing and what have you. And if you've ever been to one of those places, I mean, it's like tons of people in there.
Really?
It's like you have to spend all day. So, yes, I'll go to a hearing to save myself $50 when I could have just paid the $50 and make $300 working.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or I could just give up working and lose $300 and then save $50. I still have a net loss of $250. I think they do that on purpose too. And the other thing too just took two things I'm going to say, and then we'll close on the show. One is now pot is legal in Illinois.
Oh yeah.
And I was driving along
420 blaze it, man.
Yeah, in Uber, and I see all these long lines of sketchy-looking people, and I'm like, "What's going on there?" I thought it was a soup kitchen, people, but it wasn't a soup kitchen. It was a dispensary.
Yeah.
And so that was one thing, and then the second thing is there's this new effect that if you take Uber to downtown during peak seasons, the city collects a $3 tax.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really, really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they want less Ubers downtown, which doesn't make any sense because if it's really busy downtown, why wouldn't you want more Ubers down? You know what I mean? But it's for supposedly traffic congestion. We don't get any of that, but the Uber charges the rider $3 and then pays it to the city.
Yeah. Bummer, man.
Yeah, well.
Oh, by the way, on that ticket thing, I have lived in Chicago for a solid, almost a solid year, not a single parking ticket. But in New York, 2 times out of like the 6 months I was going in and out of there. I didn't even fucking live there. Those are the only 2 tickets I've ever had in my life. And it was so dumb because they hide those where you're allowed to park behind something around a fucking corner.
Oh, that's right. Or they make it so confusing. You can park here during a lunar eclipse on the 2nd Saturday of the 5th month of the odd number of years
between 3 and 5
between 3 and 5:15.
Yeah, right.
And
that's they put it all the way at the end of the
and they put it all the way at the end of the thing. And the thing is, here's the thing about New York. I got a parking ticket years ago, 30 fucking years ago, and I went to renew my license, and it was still on there. I'm like, seriously, for 33 years ago, get over it. So that's how that is. So
New York is a little rougher about kind of stuff.
Yes, and the thing is, it doesn't go away. And I thought to myself, 33 years ago, they probably didn't even have computers then, so they had everything in paper. So there's some fucking 90-year-old crotchety clerk back there saying, smoke 6 packs of Pall Malls a day, saying, oh, let's say Doran, did you own a 1978? Pontiac Grand Prix? Yeah, you were parking on the wrong side of the street during a lunar eclipse at 3:15. Between la. You owe us.
Oh my God.
You owe us.
It's a fascinating character.
Anyway, that's it. That's what I always believe is back there. She goes, I don't believe in computers. I do things the old-fashioned way. Where's my ashtray?
Oh my God.
I have that down. Don't you think?
It was entertaining.
Uh-huh. So anyway, I totally spaced out and let my computer go to sleep. So, come on. Oh my God, I'm literally going to punch this computer. I really am. I'm going to.
And well, DJ
there it goes. Okay.
Never
I guess I was typing in the wrong
technical difficulties.
Password.
People,
So thank you for taking this trip down memory lane and being part of our conversation. It was a joy to talk to everyone. Rachel, it was great to have you in the studio.
Great to be here.
You've been listening to the DJ Doran Show. You can find us on all the major podcasting hosting sites.
Yeah,
you
man.
can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And until next week, we look forward to having you back. And just a reminder, February 3rd show will be live.
Live, baby.
And you'll be able to call in, and we'll broadcast the new telephone number and everything.
Just even if you just want to call to say hi.
Just call to say hi. Or send us, like, chocolate-covered strawberries or something.
That's even better.
Even better. So until then, keep listening, and we'll see you next Monday.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to another edition of the DJ Doran Show. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Podomatic, Stitcher, and all of the other major podcasting sites. Just search for The DJ Doran Show.